Alright, welcome everybody. I'm Nick with O3 Drop. Thank you for tuning in tonight. So, I have tried so hard tonight to make you guys a video. Like, first I tried to do some gameplay on Octagon of me using my Monkey Coup deck so you guys could see everything that I was doing and I could explain it as I went along. Halfway through, somehow I got disconnected. Then, I tried to make you guys a top 5 list of what decks I thought were going to be at San Jose and what I thought the top 5 decks were right now. I went through and made all the 5 decks, which this was my number 5. It was going to be Red, Blue, SS3 Goku. And all the lists ended up like this. I guess DBS-decks messed up. And so all the lists basically ended up like this. And so at this point, what I'm going to do is I have a personal Broly list of mine that I've been kind of working on for the last couple of weeks. And I decided I'm just going to share this with you guys. So one other thing is I do also want to make an announcement that I will be doing a giveaway. Once I hit 100 subscribers, I am going to be doing a giveaway. So the way it'll work is once I finally hit 100, I'll do a video. On that video, all you'll have to do is comment on it. Hopefully like it, I'd appreciate it. And make sure you're subscribed to me. And what'll happen is I'll pick one random subscriber and they'll be getting a foil Fu. That is the Scientist Fu, that's the promo, it's this one right here. The only requirement is you do have to live in the United States for shipping reasons. So as long as you live in the US, just, subscribe to me, comment on that video whenever I make it, and you'll have a chance to win the Scientist Fu. It will be a foil Scientist Fu, so that's awesome. I'm glad I was able to do that for you guys. Now that that's all said and done, thank you if you have already subscribed. Again, I do notice you guys, and I definitely appreciate it. This is my Broly list. Now, I got something kind of similar from a friend of mine. He sent it to me on Facebook a while back and wanted me to test it. And it had no blue. It was basically green-black. The problem that I had with that list was there was way too much black. So like it felt like half the time, half my hand would be black cards, or even more than that sometimes. And it just kind of like bogged the deck down. Like I just didn't have cards to play because of it. And so what I did was I kind of made a few changes to it, and I'm hoping these changes will, do well. I haven't finished really testing the deck, so I don't know. Maybe this is a total flop. Maybe it's the best deck in format. I have no idea. But this is where I'm at with it now, so I can kind of go over here. So for those of you who don't know, Broly, whenever you swing, both you and your opponent have to discard one card from your hand. Now you can play Broly's Ring, and what this does is it makes it to where you don't have to discard anything from your hand, just your opponent. So starting out, we have the Mira. What this does is you overwhelm 3, and when you do, your opponent has to discard 1 card. You're playing a deck that wants to get rid of their hand, so that's really good. We do also have the 4-drop Trunks. Honestly, if there's a different black card you'd rather play in here, you can. I just picked this because it's one of my favorites. I like being able to go into my drop and get whatever card I need. In this deck, most of the time, I'd probably go for this. But yeah, so again, if there's a different black card you'd rather play, you can. But I don't feel like I need the 5-drop Mass Saiyan in this deck because there's the Kales already. And between that and my leader, like I don't think that's necessary. So then I will say one other thing that I noticed with this deck when I was playing it before is sometimes your hand size would be fairly low. I mean, there were multiple times where I only had maybe 1 or 2 cards in hand for multiple turns. So I do think the Scientist Fu helps that quite a bit in this deck. I also think the Buu helps that, and that's why I threw the Buu in here as well. So the blue package, the whole reason I put that in here was for defense, because that was another thing. If you wanted to tap out on your turn to play something, you really couldn't afford to do that because you had to have stuff for defense, especially the way the meta is and the game is right now. So with this, obviously we can't fully tap out, but it does let us, get down to 1 or 2 energies, and then we have a Bean and a Whis just in case we need it. So that's why I threw the blue package in here. Honestly, you probably just want 1 to 2 blue energies per game, if that. Just 1 would probably be okay, 2 if you really need it. So then Broly's Ring, basically we're just running 4 of this. We're not running any of the 2-drop that searches this out. We could, if you really want to, you're welcome to. I just chose not to in this case. I think just playing 4 rings is fine. Because with your leader, you can end up discarding your ring later on and then just play a new one. It's not a big deal. It's a one cost, you just play it. Or obviously charge them as energies. Now, the King Vegeta Surprise Attack, this is pretty spicy for this list. For those of you who don't know, what this does is you can basically use this kind of in the same sense that you would use a Senzu Bean. And what it does is it gives your battle card 10,000 in revenge. So let's say on my turn I swing with my Kale, you know, at their leader probably. And then on their turn they try to swing back with like a monkey that has barrier. Well, I can play the King Vegeta Surprise Attack, add 10,000 to the Kale, and give it revenge. So now I stop their attack, and it killed their monkey, barrier or not. So I really like this as a 2-of in here. I think it's really good. It can definitely help out in certain situations, especially with everything that has barrier now. So then we're on to the Kabbas. These are pretty self-explanatory for anyone who knows anything about the current cards. Kabba goes to fetch your Khalifa and also puts Kales in your hand as well. Just a really good card to have. Same thing with Trunks. Everyone should know this by now. It's just your super combo for the deck. Then there's the Khalifa. This does help you awaken. Now one thing is, we don't have a lot of self-awakening stuff in this deck other than these 3 Khalifas. Actually, we got the Tien as well, I guess. But to be honest, it doesn't matter too much if you awaken with this leader. Because what happens is, when both you and your opponent are unawakened, you swing in, they discard a card, but more than likely they're going to take a life, so they'll end up getting, you know, 1 card back for the card they discarded. However, once your opponent is awakened and you're not, every time you swing in, they have to discard a card, and they don't get the 1 back if you don't combo. And so even if they awaken a turn or 2 ahead of you, like, it's not a huge deal, because that's 1 or 2 turns where you get to swing in and they have to discard 1 anyway. So, yeah, in this deck, not being awakened immediately is totally fine. So then we have the Energy Power Gotenks. Now, I really like this card. I definitely think it's a good card. Because there's no mana ramp or energy ramp in this deck, it's a little awkward trying to play it sometimes because, you know, it's 3 energies. Normally the game is ending by the time you get to 5 or 6 energies. So it's a little awkward trying to play it too early because you could kind of screw yourself over that way. However, it is really annoying for your opponent to have to deal with, and it's a decent card. Like, I still think it's one of, you know, the better 3 drops, especially for green. So it's definitely a decent card. Tien, to be honest, I'd almost be okay taking this out sometimes. Again, in this deck, you're not in a super big rush to awaken. Like, sure, if you awaken early, that's no big deal. But it's not like, oh my gosh, I have to awaken or else I'm going to lose immediately. Like, it's not that kind of thing in this deck. So you could probably take the Tien out. The reason that I have them in now is because if my opponent's trying to do stuff, like let's say, you know, they get out the 3-drop King Vegeta, and I know next turn they want to go into the 5-drop. Well, Tien helps a little bit with the board control, so I can, you know, get rid of that. To be honest, if you are comfortable not being awakened super quickly, you can probably switch these out with 2 of the Gotens, the 3-drops that pop a card, and that might be a little better. But just in case you do need to get awakened quickly, this is in the deck for now. So then we move on to the Kale. Obviously, Kale's a really good card, clears any tokens that are on the field, as well as popping battle cards up to 5. The other big thing for this deck in particular is critical, and also Kale becomes cheaper because of Kabba, so that's gonna, you know, be really good for cheating those Kales into play a bit earlier. The other thing is you also get to draw off the Kale a lot of times because you're gonna have, you know, 4 or 5 cards in your hand, and so the Kale also helps you draw, and that's another thing that I really like about this Kale. Now, the Gotenks, same thing. Not only do you get 2 of your energies back, which is really good, you get to draw a card, and it's a 25k double striker. This card in particular is really, really good if you want to go for game. Because let's say, you know, your opponent's at 2 life, right? Play down the 5-drop Gotenks. Tap 5, untap 2, draw your card, swing in with the Gotenks, okay? Then, with 2 energies up, you could use Trunks. You know, tap 2, play the Trunks, go back into your warp, grab yourself a super combo, swing in with the Trunks. You're hitting at least 30, if not, you know, whatever you have in your hand. So, yeah, I really like the Gotenks in this deck because of the untap 2 and because of the draw 1. I think it's really good in this deck. So this right here, again, this is not a perfected list. I did not want to share this with you guys just yet. But I definitely think it's a fun list. You can definitely get some wins at your locals with this if you want to try it out. So yeah, if you guys do try it, let me know what you think. If you have any improvements, let me know in the comments. How can I make this better? This is a work in progress. I want this deck to be good. Like, when I win locals with Broly, I want that to be a thing. Like, that would just be awesome. So, now one more time about the giveaway. Once I reach 100 subscribers, I think I'm at like 60 or so now, I will be doing a giveaway video. And so all you'll have to do is, subscribe to me, leave a comment on that video, and I'll be picking one random subscriber, and they will get a Foil Scientist Fu. Again, you do have to live in the United States for shipping reasons, but other than that, just be a subscriber and you have a chance to win. Just leave a comment on that video. So again, thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you have a great evening, and yeah, enjoy.